ever wondered how a company with thousands of employees keeps track of who's who and what each person can access? That's the job of something called a directory service. Whether it's logging into your work computer, accessing cloud apps, or enforcing security policies across an entire network, directory services are the behind-the-scenes system making it all work. In this video, we're breaking down what directory services are, how they work, where you'll see them in the real world, and why they're a critical part of cybersecurity. Let's jump right into it. A directory service is a centralized database that stores information about users, computers, and other resources on a network, and it helps manage access to those resources. Think of it like a company phone book, but for an entire IT environment. It tells systems who someone is, what they're allowed to do, and where they belong in the organization. When a user logs into their computer, opens a shared folder, or accesses email, the directory service is what checks their identity and gives them the appropriate level of access. It's the backbone for authentication, authorization, and user management in most business environments. Directory services are great because they make it possible to manage thousands of users and devices in one place, enforce security policies across the network, simplify login processes with single sign-on, and organize users into groups, departments, or roles. They're especially critical in larger environments where managing each device individually would be chaotic and frankly prone to error. One of the most popular examples is Microsoft Active Directory, but we'll talk about that a bit more in just a moment. At the core of each directory service is a structured, hierarchical database, kind of like a family tree for your network. This structure stores objects like users, groups, computers, printers, and shared folders. Each object has attributes like a user's name, email address, department, or the groups they belong to. And these attributes help define what the user can access and what policies apply to them. When someone logs in, the directory service checks their credentials, usually a username or password, and verifies them against its records. If they're valid, it issues an authentication token or session, allowing the user to access resources they're authorized for. Directory services also support group policies, which let administrators enforce rules like password complexity, screen lock timeouts, or software restrictions across all devices or users in a group. We'll be covering this more in a later video, so for now, just hit that I believe button. Directory services often use the lightweight Directory Access Protocol, or LDAP for short, to handle these lookups and updates. LDAP is the language that systems use to query and interact with the directory. Some modern environments also support things like SAML, OAuth, or other identity federation protocols to extend directory functionality to cloud-based services. And if you want to learn more about how these work, especially in the context of single sign-on, I cover that in a separate video on SSO and federation, which I'll leave a link to in the description of the video if you'd like to check that out. Now that we've covered what a directory service is and how it works, let's talk about some of the most common examples you'll run into. First up is Active Directory, or AD. This is Microsoft's on-premise directory service, and it's used by the majority of enterprises running Windows environments. It handles authentication, access control, and centralized management for everything from users and devices to printers and file shares. Then there's Azure Active Directory, which is now called Entra ID to alleviate confusion with Active Directory. And this is Microsoft's cloud-based directory service designed for managing users and resources across Office 365, Azure, and other cloud services. It supports modern authentication protocols and is often used alongside on-prem Active Directory and hybrid environments, meaning it's a mixture of cloud products and systems in a local network. Another widely used service is OpenLDAP. It's a free and open source implementation of the LDAP protocol. It's especially common in Linux and Unix-based environments where organizations just want a lightweight, flexible directory they can configure to meet their specific needs. You might also run into FreeIPA, Red Hat Directory Server, or Apple Open Directory, depending on the platform. Regardless, these all serve the same core purpose, providing a central place to manage users, devices, and access, with some differences in scale, feature set, and integration capabilities. Directory services aren't just about convenience. They're a foundational part of an organization's security posture. They control who can access what, when, and under what conditions. And without a directory service in place, you'd have to manage user accounts and permissions separately on every system, which is not only inefficient, it's prone to error and nearly possible to secure at scale. A directory service gives you centralized control, which means you can enforce password policies and account lockout rules, enable multi-factor authentication, manage group-based access controls, and audit logins, changes, and permission escalations. It's also essential for identity and access management, especially as organizations rely more and more on single sign-on, federation, and cloud services. The directory becomes the single source of truth for user identity, making it much easier to apply the principle of least privilege, monitor suspicious activity, and quickly revoke access when needed. And when a directory service is compromised, that's a huge deal because it often gives the attackers the key to everything else. So whether you're securing a small network or a massive enterprise, understanding and protecting your directory service is absolutely critical in cybersecurity. It's one of those core pieces that, if overlooked, can compromise everything else, which is why every cybersecurity professional should know how it works. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button or check out one of the other videos on screen. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.